Coming to you from the beautiful Treasure Coast of Florida, you're watching Ham Radio Concepts.
Hey guys, Eric, KJ4YZI here with a, I thought I showed it a couple times, powering my equipment. I thought maybe I'll make a video on it. So you're interested in a power supply. Which power supply do you get? Well, there's a lot of options out there. I picked up an MFJ-4245mv, and I'll show you a couple features on this thing, and I will show you around what it has. In the front of it, you'll notice it's got a current meter and a voltage meter. The power supply is rated at 40 amp continuous, 45 amp surge. So it'll run without breaking a sweat at 40 all day long, 45 for peaks. It's got a cigarette lighter on the front, DC socket where you can hook up iPhone chargers and stuff like that. That's only rated at 7 amps. But you could use that for, say, testing. Let's say you got a CB radio you pulled out of your truck. You want to play around with that inside on the bench. And it's got a cigarette lighter on it. You can plug that in. That's rated for 7 amps. Variable voltage, 9 to 15 volts. And I'll show you here on a meter in just a second. We'll see what the lowest point and what the highest point is. Will it go down to 9 and will it go up to 15? On the knob here, there's a little notch. So when you fall into that notch, it's supposed to be 13.8 volts. Easy enough instead of having to dial. Most common, devices you want to run at 13.8 volts, or ham radios or stuff like that, CBs even. And you don't have to sit there and look at the thing and dial it in. You can roll it till you feel the click, and it makes it a little convenient for you. And if you need to go up or down, you can do that. These are like 7-way binding posts. You can use them with banana plugs. You can use them with ring terminals. They got a little hole in there. You can do it that way. They're supposed to be like 5 or 7-way binding posts. You can hook that to a DC power strip, and that way you're not connecting everything to the front of this like I do for now. I have to get myself a power pole bank or something like that to connect everything to it. It's got a fan light on there, so you know the fan's running. The fan's not super loud. It's not quiet, but it's not super loud. It doesn't bother me at all. The fan on my FT450 when it kicks on is probably just as loud, so not that bad. Let me show you the back here. Here's the back. You can see the fan right there, which is rushing air right over the transistors inside, keeping it cool. It's got vent holes in the side, so plenty of ventilation in there with that fan. Okay, and it's got these quick release poles in the back, and these are rated for 5 amps. So that's what I hook up my my MFJ 993, the little pigtail coming out of the back. I just plug it right into the back here because you only need like an amp for that. Same thing for like something like the light on a roller inductor. You can plug that in. The MFJ roller inductor there, you can plug the light into that without having to tie up something on a whole bus bar or a binding post in the front. So that's pretty cool. The input is capable of 115 or 220, depending on your country. And the fuse here is actually, that's a standard computer plug there, and there's a fuse in the bottom, a 10 amp fuse. It does have overcurrent, over voltage protection, short protection, and all that. So they claim it to be pretty hard to burn it up. I don't want to try shorting it out on the video unless it was absolutely necessary. I'd try to bury this thing, but from what I see, it's got a lot of protection built in so that you can't accidentally damage it. So that's good. It's got a lot of cool features in it. Let's put it on the meter and see what happens. All right, so power it up, and of course, I like the lighted meters on here. Very easy to read. So I have, just for demo purposes, the probes of my little cheap Radio Shack meter because my little digital meter broke. Okay, hopefully we can see that without a glare. There it is. All right, so what I'm going to do is we'll just crank it down. It says 9 to 15 volts. So we're going to go down to all the way in the bottom. All right, and what's weird is at 9, it's going down to 7.25. Let's see what the meter says. Says 5, 6, 7, yeah, 7 point, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 7.5 volts on the bottom scale there. 7.5, so it's going below 9. Interesting. There's 7.5 right there. That's interesting. Let's see what it'll go up to max. You can hear the fan increases when the voltage increases. And you can actually notice that the fan light, brighter it is, faster it's going, right? That should be full tilt right there, 15 volts. The meter is only going up to about 14 on the actual power supply. The meter, my Radio Shack meter, is about 15 volts. Just about. So this meter here, you would think 15 would be halfway in that red scale. It's actually a little less than that. But obviously this meter is not showing what this one is, so you might want to go by your actual, 15 is 15. Maybe it's this meter on here, maybe it's just not showing it and that's how it's manufactured. But right around 13.8 volts in that little click right there. Right there. Okay, roughly 13.8, I'd say 13.6. And the meter is saying 11, 12, 13, 14, so just about 14 at the 13.8 mark. So, I mean, bottom line is, it's somewhat accurate. I mean, it's more accurate with my meter than it is with the meter in the front, but you're getting your power. I mean, it's working. It's putting out. And with all this stuff here, it works fine. So let's put it on the radio and see what the radio says. So got my radio running here. Fan's on. You can hear it. Fan. This camera. I've already made one video and deleted it. The fan sounds a lot louder on the video than it actually is. It's not that loud. It's a little loud, not that loud. I've seen some reviews online that say the fan is atrociously loud. It's not. In fact, if I heat up my Yaesu here and I transmit too long, the fan in that's just as loud when it comes on. So anyways, as I said, there's a notch in the power here. So like if you just rest in that notch, it's supposed to be 13.8 volts. On the meter it shows me about 13.6. So with my radio, 13.6. Alright, so basically if I just kind of turn this up to 13.8 like that and I hit the button on the radio and check it, it's 13.9. So roughly accurate there. And with this radio, this tuner on, this 25 watt mobile driving this 160 watt amp on VHF, I keyed them all down at the same time. I got almost 40 amps. And it didn't even stress. The voltage stayed the same, didn't come down. Voltage was still at 13.8, roughly. And so plenty of overhead here. It'll do 45 amp surge, as I said. So it should, in fact, if I key now, I got the 6 meter repeater locked in. If I just key at 100 watts, I'm drawing only 12 amps. And the radio is claimed to draw 20 at full duty cycle. But I've never put an ammeter on there and find out exactly what it's supposed to draw. But like if I go here to 10 meters, I tune up real quick. So I don't have this one down here in line right this moment. 100 watts, and 13 amps. Alright, so I'm going to guess that the rate, well, if I go to the radio here, RF power is 100 watts. So again, I'm not exactly sure of this at the moment current drain here, but the meter's telling me 13. So it's not batting an eye. Very handy. Again with the now remember, if you're using this and you're pulling 2 amps on a charger, You got to add that in with the factor, 2 amps plus whatever you're drawing. If you got a 2 amp iPad charger or something like that, or a 5 amp something or other plugged into a cigarette lighter, that's going to come out of your 40 amps or 45 amp surge. So if you got just a basic HF rig, you should be fine with the this power supply of this many amps here. You shouldn't need any more than that. I'm happy with it. For the money, I could have got an Astron linear power supply that just, you know, brute force puts out 35 amps or whatever. But I like all the little bells and whistles on this with the cigarette lighter, the variable voltage, and the quick connects in the back, and the fan. Now I'll tell you a story real quick. I had the Yaesu, I forget what the model number is, I had the Yaesu power supply with the radio at one time, and it had burned up a while ago. But I liked how it had the 2 meters on the front. And when I called the shop asking about if they had looked at it, because I had them look at it before I realized it was junk, and I said, you know, do you have any more of those Yaesu power supplies that have the 2 meters on it? And the guy said, sir, you might want to double check your technician class license or your book. 2 meters is a radio band, not a power supply. And I said, sir, I'm on my way. I'm going to show you what I mean by 2 meters. I'm not an idiot. It was funny. He thought I meant 2 meters. But anyways, I like having the visual amp and voltage draw on here so I can see what I'm doing. I like the little bells and whistles. Just like, you know, this tuner here, the 993 compared to the 939. I like having the cross needle on here and the little bells and whistles. Although the 939 is just an outstanding tuner by itself, doesn't have all the little features in the front. But anyways, so there you have it. Wish I had an O-scope to put on it and check the ripple, but nobody I've talked to has heard any kind of hash or anything. It's supposed to be a very clean power supply. Just wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like and what it does. So if you're investing in a power supply and you're wondering, should I get that Samlex that's on sale, or should I get an Astron, or should I get the MFJ? So far, the last couple months, MFJ's held up great. So I can't ask for anything more. 7-3, and check out my other videos. Subscribe for more updates. This is KJ4YZI.